we are on day 8 of our chronological Bible reading plan. I am joined today by my dog, Crystal. Hopefully she is decently quiet during this, which is unlikely because she's hyper. We just finished up Job 14 through 16, and I have a nice little Bible summary website that I found. It's biblesummary.info, and it just does a 1-sentence summary of each chapter of the Bible. So just recapping what we did last week. So we have Job 14, where Job said about the futility of life and how men will die. Summary of Job 15 was Eliphaz saying that your own mouth condemns you. Why do you turn against God? Job 16, Job says, you're miserable comforters, which we did see. You're pretty bad comforters when it comes to friends. And he says, my prayer is pure. He confirms that that's, oh no, I didn't do anything. And so coming into today, we are doing Job 17 through 20. And so just giving you a run through of what we're going to cover today. So Job 17, my spirit is broken. He has made me a byword, but come again, all of you. I will not find a wise man among you. Where is my hope? Then Job 18, Bildad speaks again. Why are we stupid in your sight? I think that sums it up pretty nicely. Job 19, Job talks again and says, how long will you torment me? God counts me as an enemy. My closest friends abhor me, but I know that my Redeemer lives. Job 20, looks like Zophar speaks again and says, my understanding inspires me to answer. The triumph of the wicked is short. His food will turn sour in his stomach. That's where we're going today, just to put it all in scope for you. Sometimes it's nice to see where we're going before we get there. Before we start, let's prepare our minds and our hearts to be in the right frame of mind for this with a quick prayer. God, give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. God, let any knowledge I gain serve to help me love you and others more and not puff me up. God, help me see something new about you I've never seen before. God, correct any lies I believe about you or anything I misunderstand. And God, direct my steps according to your word. Amen. Crystal, are you making noises? My spirit is broken. My days have faded out. The grave awaits me. Surely mockery is with me. My eyes must dwell on their hostility. Make then my pledge with you. Who else will put up security for me? Because you have closed their minds to understanding, therefore you will not exalt them. If a man denounces his friends for personal gain, the eyes of his children will fail. He has made me a byword to people. I am the one in whose face they spit. My eyes have grown dim with grief. My whole frame is but a shadow. Upright men are appalled at this. The innocent man is troubled with the godless. But the righteous man holds to his way, and the one with clean hands grows stronger. And then once again, we're going to be highlighting as we go when we have questions, and we're going to read an entire chapter at once and then come back to study it. Anticipation of death. But turn, all of you, and come now. I will not find a wise man among you. My days have passed, my plans are shattered, even the desires of my heart. These men change night into day. They say, the light is near in the face of darkness. If I hope for the grave to be my home, if I spread out my bed in darkness, if I cry to corruption, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother or my sister, where then is my hope? And my hope, who sees it? Will it go down to the barred gates of death? Will we descend together into the dust? So that was Job's reply. We're reading the Net Bible translation, which has lots of footnotes of what the translators were thinking when they translated from the original language to English. And I kind of want to highlight that section that we read in this biblesummary.info. It looks like it's one single quote from the passage, but it's not. It's putting together a couple different places of the passage into a summary quote, but it is coming from the passage. So my spirit is broken. My spirit is broken. He has made me a byword. He's made me a byword. But come again, all of you. I will not find a wise man among you. And then at the very end, where then is my hope? I kind of wish it would separate out which ones were the beginning and the end of a quote from this passage, just for clarity. But now we know that this BibleSummary.info is using a collection of different quotes and meshing it all into one quote. I did highlight this one part, but the righteous man holds to his way and the one with clean hands grows stronger. Because I wasn't entirely sure what that meant. And the note does not help me any. So we're just going to use our noggins to try to figure out what this is saying. So the righteous man holds to his way and the one with clean hands grows stronger. So Job is saying he's holding to that he is righteous, and he says he has clean hands. So he must be saying he's holding to his way and he's growing stronger. Upright men are appalled at this. The innocent man is troubled with the godless. Upright men. So is that talking about himself or... I mean, I imagine he's talking about the friends around him are appalled at this. The innocent man is troubled with the godless. Okay, well, we'll just continue on and read Bildad's second speech. Show them your egg. Then Bildad the Shuhite answered, "How long until you make an end of words? You must consider, and then we can talk. Why should we be regarded as beasts and considered stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself to pieces in your anger, will the earth be abandoned for your sake? Or will a rock be moved from its place? Yes, the lamp of the wicked is extinguished. His flame of fire does not shine. The light of his tent grows dark. His lamp above him is extinguished. His vigorous steps are restricted, and his own counsel throws him down. For he has been thrown into a net by his feet, and he wanders into a mesh. A trap seizes him by the heel. A snare grips him. A rope is hidden for him on the ground, and a trap for him lies on the path. Terrors frighten him on all sides and dog his every step. Calamity is hungry for him, and misfortune is ready at his side. It eats away part of his skin. The most terrible death devours his limbs. He is dragged from the security of his tent and marched off to the king of terrors. Fire resides in his tent. Over his residence, burning sulfur is scattered. Below, his roots dry up, and his branches wither above. His memory perishes from the earth. He has no name in the land. He is driven from the light into the darkness and is banished from the world. He has neither children nor descendants among his people. No survivor in those places he once stayed. People of the west are appalled at his fate, and people of the east seized with horror, saying, "Surely such is the residence of an evil man, and this is the place of one who has not known God." Again, very uplifting. Good job, Bildad, for supporting your friend. We'll make that small. So I have the Cornerstone Bible Commentary up. This has been decently helpful. I'm trying to interpret this myself, but this is just not my strong suit. So I'm trying to understand it and then hear what other people have to say and just take it in. This says, Bildad begins his second speech as he had the first with the question, "How long?" Bildad has no patience with the idea that the innocent may suffer. Bildad saw life in black and white as far as morality and suffering were concerned. There's two kinds of people, the good and the bad, and they experience life accordingly. Bildad makes it clear in his introduction that the world is not a safe and stable place if we allow it to be mucked up with gray. So, yeah, how long until you make an end of words? How long are you going to talk, man? And you must consider what we're saying. Is that what he's saying? You must consider what we're saying. Bildad is telling his listeners to be intelligent. This would be rather cutting in the discourse. And then we can talk. So listen to what we're saying and then we'll talk. Like, be quiet otherwise, is kind of what he's saying. And then he goes on to this very very poetic and described way of saying you're going to be caught in a trap, and all the different ways you can get caught in traps. When you're a bad person doing bad things, you're going to get caught and you're going to go to a bad place and everyone's going to say, oh, yep, you deserved it. You must not have known God. I think that summarizes what he just said. Yes, very black and white. Yep, okay. Now I wanted to, this part where it says burning sulfur is scattered. I was hoping there'd be a note there, but it doesn't really say. So this is 15, chapter 8, verse 15, chapter 18, verse 15. Oh, here we go. Burning sulfur rains on their houses. Can y'all see that okay? It's probably a little small. Let me make it bigger. A person has shown that this verse and the next draw on ancient motifs found in Ugaritic writings. None of his is parallel to sulfur and should be repointed to the word flood, which is used with reference to a rain of fire. The analogy in the next verse of the tree drying up is also found in Ugaritic writings. I don't know what Ugaritic is, but context clue says it must be people or something that was happening at the time. Oh, hey, when I double clicked on that, the Bible dictionary brought up Ugaritic was the language of the city of Ugarit. How helpful. The flourished late in the Bronze Age, illuminates difficult passages in biblical Hebrew, provides the only archaeological access to social, economic, and political conditions in the late Bronze Age. Okay, so that was, okay, so substantial common vocabulary. So that must be what they're using to help interpret what was happening at the time. Wow, how did we get down this little path? Going back to, he's dragged from the security of his tent and marched off to the king of terrors. Who's the king of terrors? So this is the reference to death, the king of all terrors. Okay. Wonder how they know that. Other identifications are made in the commentaries. Mot, the Ugaritic god of death. Nergal of the Babylonians. Molech of the Canaanites, the one to whom people sent emissaries. So we do hear about Molech quite a bit later on in the Bible. So yeah, this hypothetical king of terror, so death. Fire resides in his tent, over his residence burning sulfur scattered. Okay, well, let's hear Job's reply to Bildad. Then Job answered, "How long will you torment me and crush me with your words? These 10 times you have been reproaching me." 10 times? What? "You are not ashamed to attack me. But even if it were true that I have erred, my error remains solely my concern. If indeed you would exalt yourselves above me and plead my disgrace against me, know then that God has wronged me and encircled me with his net." Job's abandonment and affliction. "If I cry out, 'Violence!' I receive no answer. I cry for help, but there is no justice. He has blocked my way so I cannot pass, and has set darkness over my paths. He has stripped me of my honor, and has taken the crown off my head. He tears me down on every side until I perish. He uproots my hope like one uproots a tree. Thus his anger burns against me, and he considers me among his enemies. His troops advance together, and they throw up a siege ramp against me, and they camp around my tent. He has put my relatives far from me. My acquaintances only turn away from me. My kinsmen have failed me. My friends have forgotten me. My guests and my servant girls consider me a stranger. What? I am a foreigner in their eyes. I summon my servant, but he does not respond, even though I implore him with my own mouth. My breath is repulsive to my wife. I am loathsome to my brothers. Even youngsters have scorned me. When I get up, they scoff at me. All my closest friends detest me, and those whom I love have turned against me. My bones stick to my skin and my flesh. I have escaped alive with only the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, my friends, have pity on me, for the hand of God has struck me. Why do you pursue me like God does? Will you never be satiated with my flesh? Oh, that my words were written down. Oh, that they were written on a scroll, that with an iron chisel and with lead they were engraved in a rock forever. As for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, and that as the last he will stand up upon the earth. I'll highlight the whole thing. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God, whom I will see for myself, and whom my own eyes will behold, and not another. My heart grows faint within me. If you say, how will we pursue him, since the root of the trouble is found in him? Fear the swords yourselves, for wrath brings punishment by the sword, so that you may know that there is judgment. We're reading through, okay, we have one more chapter. So we have Zophar's second speech. Now, there's a song that I really love called I Know My Redeemer Lives, or maybe it's just My Redeemer Lives. And I mean, maybe there's other places in the Bible that says that, but I'm just going to bookmark that it's probably from this chapter. And it's interesting that Job is going through all of this, and he's still calling God his Redeemer. He's still trusting in God through all of this. Even though his everything's been taken away from him, all of his best friends have come, all the smartest guys that he knows have come and said, you did something wrong. He's still saying, no, I didn't, and I still love God. And at the end of all this, I'm still going to be standing up with God. Yet in my flesh I will see God, whom I will see for myself, whom my own eyes will behold and not another. So he still believes there's a God. He still is calling him his Redeemer. So the translator note on Redeemer, it is capitalized. So that's the indication that he's talking about God being the Redeemer. The word is well known in the Old Testament because of its identification as the kinsman redeemer in the book of Ruth. So we've not yet read that, but has that happened in page by page? Has Ruth happened yet? I'm not sure if it's probably before this, if Psalms comes after Job. But anyways, the word redeemer evokes the wrong connotation for people familiar with the New Testament alone. A translation of vindicator would capture the idea more. So, okay, let's reread that with vindicator, since I think we are more familiar with the New Testament. So, as for me, I know that my vindicator lives, and that as the last he will stand upon the earth. As the last. The word has triggered a good number of interpretations. Here's That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, well. I have a feeling that how Job is calling him my redeemer here is probably less beautiful than the song I'm thinking of. So I'm trying to like separate that in my head and say, okay, this is a vindicator, which yes, I do have a more negative connotation to a vindicator versus a redeemer. But I still think he's sticking with God. Even though he's saying that God is doing bad things to him, which we know from the background that it's not God doing the bad things to him. It's God allowing Satan, the accuser, to do things to him, which I'm still fuzzy on. What is God allowing to happen versus God not stopping something from happening? And what's the difference between those two things? Like, if it's not God doing it, but God is allowing someone else to do it and he has the power to stop it, then he is technically doing it. But God is not doing it. I don't know. It's a complicated thing in my head. So this phrase here, my guests and servant girls consider me a stranger. I don't know if it's super important to this, but I'm just curious why they chose that phrase, servant girls. My breath is repulsive to my wife. And I wonder if, where it says, I escaped alive with only the skin of my teeth, if, I know that a lot of our sayings that we have come from the Bible, and that if you want to know the most just sayings in English, reading the English King James Version or just the Bible in general, you'll get a lot of sayings that people say. They might not know where they got it from, but they're just used to hearing it. I'm wondering if this saying with the skin of my teeth is one of them. It still doesn't make sense to me. Like skin of your teeth. What do other translations show with that? No, they all say skin of my teeth. Hello. Let's continue to Zophar's second speech, chapter 20, our last chapter. Then Zophar the Naamathite answered, This is why my troubled thoughts bring me back, because of my feelings within me. When I hear of reproof that dishonors me, then my understanding prompts me to answer. Surely you know that it has been from old, ever since humankind was placed on the earth, that the elation of the wicked is brief. The joy of the godless lasts but a moment. Even though his stature reaches to the heavens and his head touches the clouds, he will perish forever, like his own excrement. Those who used to see him will say, Where is he? Like a dream he flies away, never again to be found, and like a vision of the night he is put to flight. Like a vision of the night he is put to flight. People who had seen him will not see him again, and the place where he was will recognize him no longer. His sons must recompense the poor, and his own hands must return his wealth. His bones were full of his youthful vigor, but that vigor will lie down with him in the dust. If evil is sweet in his mouth and he hides it under his tongue, if he retains it for himself and does not let it go, and holds it fast in his mouth, his food will turn sour in his stomach. It becomes the venom of the serpents within him. The wealth he consumed, he vomits up. God will make him throw it out of his stomach. He sucks the poison of serpents, and the fangs of the viper kill him. He will not look on the streams, the rivers, which are the torrents of honey and butter. He gives back the ill-gotten gain without assimilating it. He will not enjoy the wealth from his commerce, for he has oppressed the poor and abandoned them. He has seized a house which he did not build. For he knows no satisfaction in his appetite. He does not let anything he desires escape. Nothing is left for him to devour. That is why his prosperity does not last. In the fullness of his sufficiency, distress overtakes him. With full force of misery will come upon him. While he is filling his belly, God sends his burning anger against him and rains down his blows upon him. If he flees from an iron weapon, then an arrow from a bronze bow pierces him. When he pulls it out and it comes out of his back, the gleaming point out of his liver, terror comes over him. Total darkness waits to receive his treasures. A fire which has not been kindled will consume him and devour what is left of his tent. The heavens reveal his iniquity, and earth rises up against him. A flood will carry off his house, rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. Such is the lot God allots the wicked, and the heritage of his appointment from God. Done. Okay. So what I took from Zophar's second speech is it did seem a little nicer than Bildad's speech, but still saying, like, because he's not directly getting mad at he's very indirectly saying that that Job was all of these things, which is still not nice. But he's saying, hey, I don't really want to say this, but I can't help it because someone's saying something that's dishonoring me, then my understanding prompts me to answer. He's saying, I have to say something. So surely you know that it's been from old, ever since humankind was placed on the earth. So theoretically, he's talking about Adam and Eve, right? Since they were placed on the earth, the elation of the wicked is brief. And I imagine that's talking about that the apple, eating the apple was a very brief thing for, or something along those lines. I mean, everything that's a sin that usually is a good thing at first, but long-term not good. The joy of the godless lasts but a moment. Even though his stature reaches to the heavens and his head touches the clouds, he will perish forever. So what is, I don't understand what's happening here. Oh no, I don't want to do that. His stature, who's his? Oh, pride. That makes a little more sense. His stature, he's got a big head is what he's saying. Even though he has a big head, basically, he's going to perish just like his poop. I mean, right? Like a whirlwind. And then it basically says, I mean, I'm gathering from this that this is a very long-winded way to say that the evil who take things that aren't theirs, hey, Job, you were a very wealthy person. You had a lot of stuff. You got a lot of things. You must have done that. You must have done something not right, and it will all be taken away from you. Yeah, the wealth he consumed, he vomits up. God will make him throw it out of his stomach. And he's saying, maybe this is God taking it all away because it was an ill-gotten gain. So yeah, he's still saying, Job, you must have done something wrong that God's taking all this away. Such is the lot God allots the wicked. That's hard to say 5 times fast. And the heritage of his appointment from God. What does that mean? This is 29. So verse 29, such is the fate God allots the wicked, the heritage appointed for them by God. That's kind of how they all read. I mean, fates and lots are usually similar. A flood will carry off his house, rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. So similar to Noah's Ark type of flood, I imagine. Okay. I do have one other resource, and I set up a little new view. I'm very proud of it, even though it's not the best resolution. At least you can see what I'm looking at now instead of me trying to hold up a book. But I have this overhead projector, basically. It's not it's like an old webcam I have taped to a lamp and shining down. It's very high tech. But this is my Archeological Study Bible. Technically, it's my husband's. He's okay with me using it. It's the NIV Archeological Study Bible. And it's by Zondervan, and Logos is by Faith Life. That's probably why this resource is not in Logos, but it's still a good resource. I had mentioned it last time. There's some interesting ancient texts and artifacts that's related to the book of Job that they mentioned regarding Hittite text that's about a similar story of the poem of the righteous sufferer that they mention here. So they have a little clip of the poem of the ancient sufferer that has a similar story to Job. These are 2-sided seals with enlarged images of their impressions showing Hittite hieroglyphs and good luck signs. So this is I think this is pointing out the pagan way of dealing with bad things happening to you, like trying to fix it with good luck charms and trying to rule away the plague with different items versus how God-believing people, they weren't called Christians, it's Jews, Israelites. Yeah. I don't know what they were called at this point in time, but the people who believed in this God viewed it differently. And I'm still researching why, like how they knew what God was. But there's a couple other, so here is on Zophar's reply. There's a tale of Akwat. In Job 20, Zophar asserted that God punishes all evildoers. Although his comprehension was inadequate, Zophar correctly understood that God is fundamentally just and does not capriciously inflict pain upon people. While this may seem self-evident to a modern Christian reader, it is not a viewpoint an ancient pagan would have shared or even considered. The Ugaritic tale of Akwat, I don't know how to say Aqhat, located at Ras Shamra in 1930, illustrates this. And continues, readers of the Iliad and the Odyssey are familiar with pagan tales of jealous, violent, and petty gods. This understanding prevailed in ancient Near East. Israel's belief that a righteous God was truly distinctive. So this is pointing out some of the importance of why what they believed at the time was so different than what the majority of people believed at the time, like the non-God following people, like the Egyptian gods and the Greek gods and all the gods that, yeah, they did terrible things because they got jealous or because they wanted something silly, and they would torture the innocent just for fun, or for a silly reason. And Job is continuously coming back to the idea that God does not do random things for random reasons. God does not punish the wicked. God does not punish for random reasons, which is true. But things do happen to righteous people. Bad things do happen to good people, even still. But it's not God just carelessly throwing random things around. So I think that's all I really wanted to cover today. I think that's probably plenty. I'm sure we're up to at least 45 minutes by now, so we'll call that a day. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming along this journey with me. I know that reading through the entire Bible is no small feat. I was looking for a place where I could come and watch a YouTube video and kind of feel like I was reading it and actually read the text, but have someone kind of hold my hand through it. I couldn't necessarily find what I was wanting, so that's why I'm doing this. The Bible Recap Project does have a really good, like, short 10-minute summary of each Bible reading day that we're doing. That was the first time I went through the Bible. I did go through their Bible Recap chronological plan, read it on my own, then listened to the podcast. And Tara Lee Cobble, she is just full of all sorts of good, uplifting feelings that made me kind of feel like, oh yeah, that does make sense when she puts it that way. I am not as well versed as she is. I'm just trying to read through this on my own and understand it on my own now that I've gone through it once, and I just really want to dig into it a little more than I did last time. So I'm not a theologian. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm not any type of anything. I'm a normal person just reading through it and welcoming you to join with me. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.